for those of you who are not in the meetup group, I originally created a meetup group titled The Secrets Within. And it's about utilizing the tools we have within ourselves, within each individual parts of ourselves, to utilize it to follow our bliss and follow a path that was destined for us prior to coming on this earth. And we all have one, and we all have an individual one. It is up to us to recognize those tools, to push forward with it. Who here has been on an airplane? Yeah. And do you know the safety demonstration of put your oxygen mask on first before assisting someone else in case of emergency, right? Most of us think, well, why would I put myself first? Why would I put my oxygen mask on first when my kid or someone with a disability or someone in need also needs their mask? It makes no sense. But the fact is, if you don't have your oxygen mask on first, everybody is in danger, right? If you're trying to help someone, if you're trying to help a kid or someone with a disability put on their mask, and you pass out, everybody's screwed, right? But yet we're taught to put ourselves second. We're here to put other people first before their own needs. Yeah, I do. I have, right? We need to flip that around and learn that putting ourselves first is vital for our overall mental health. Not only for our physical safety on an airplane, for our overall mental health. And that's how we strengthen a community, strengthen a family, by putting us first. So my purpose. Let me talk a little bit about me for a bit and my purpose and why I'm here, why I decided to begin this Secrets Within series and talk about self-compassion. My personal purpose, my mission statement. And if you're a client of mine, if you have worked with me before, I have you write a personal mission statement. That way it allows you to hone in on who you are, what your goals are, what your core values are, where you want to be. Where do you want to be when you're on your deathbed at 90 years old, 100 years old? What stories do you want to tell yourself? What stories do you want to tell others? So my personal mission statement is to help promote self-awareness within individuals. I strongly believe that in order to make drastic global change, you have to start within yourself. You cannot spark global positive change if your internal world is negative, if you're battling an internal battle. The more you work on yourself, the more you change yourself for the better, that's when positive change happens. You inspire yourself, and therefore you go on and inspire others. And those people will go on inspiring others as well. It's a ripple effect. Drastic change starts with the individual. And here's a little secret. We have the power to rewire our subconscious mind and thought process. Many of us believe, oh, I've thought this way my entire life. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. There's no way. And I've been told, being in this field, I've been told, your clients are not going to change. You might as well work with kids or teenagers because they're more able to change. Don't work with adults. They're not able to change. But I've seen firsthand, I have personal experience in changing. And people can change. You just have to want to change. That's the thing. If somebody else wants you to change, you're not going to change. If you're court ordered to go to certain events or certain therapy groups to change, you are not going to change. You have to want to change and make the active effort. Make the conscious decision in everything you do to change. But we have that power. We have the power to change our thoughts. And changing your thoughts changes the world, literally. So today's goal is to help everybody get one step closer to their personal awareness, to their self-awareness, and one step closer to their path. I cannot walk the path with you, but I can guide you to allow you to see the secrets within, to walk the path yourself. I'm here to provide the gift of self-awareness. Self-compassion. The topic for today, what is self-compassion? Do any of you know what self-compassion is?
Loving yourself?
Yeah, exactly. So, according to Dr. Kristen Neff, she's like the goddess of self-compassion. She says there are 3 different components. The first one is self-kindness, just like what you said. Self-kindness, being kind to yourself the same way you would be kind to others. The same way you would be kind to a best friend, a sister, a brother, a child, etc. To talk to yourself in the same way you would talk to others. common humanity. To be human means to be imperfect, but yet we are so harsh on ourselves when we are not perfect. We talk to ourselves very harshly, very demeaning, in a very demeaning manner. We're more accepting of other people's imperfections, but we are not accepting of our own imperfections. We tend to believe that if we are not mean to ourselves, we are not motivating ourselves. If we are not mean to ourselves, we are being lazy. So we tell ourselves, you're lazy, you're an idiot, you should be able to do this, what are you doing? In hopes that it's actually gonna motivate us to do better. When in fact, the opposite occurs. The third component of self-compassion is mindfulness. Being here now. Being in the present moment and recognizing the damage you are doing to yourself, the pain you are causing yourself. A lot of the times we put the blame on external forces of why we are suffering, when we are the root cause of our own suffering. Our thoughts are the root cause of our suffering, not external forces. As I said earlier, we believe we need to be self-critical to be motivated. That is false. So many times when we talk to ourselves negatively, and research has showed, when we talk to ourselves negatively, it releases cortisol and adrenaline in our brain, which is really good if a bear is chasing you, which is really good if you're trying to not be eaten by tigers, right? That cortisol and adrenaline goes into your brain, your fight or flight reactions come in, your thought process speeds up, and you're able to run away, you're able to hide, you're able to save yourself. However, it is not good in everyday circumstances. It is not good when you're gonna go confront a supervisor, when you're gonna break up with a boyfriend. You have to be kind to yourself. Studies have shown when you're kind to yourself, when you talk to yourself in a kind way, that releases the dopamine and oxytocin, the feel-good drugs. So for example, let's say there's a little boy, two little boys, both on the same monkey bars, are trying to get across, both of them fall and hurt themselves. One little boy goes to his dad. Dad, I fell, I hurt myself, I hurt my arm. Dad says, son, you're an idiot. How could you not get across the monkey bars? It's so easy. How can I expect you to accomplish anything in life if you can't even go across the monkey bars? Shame on you. The monkey bars then become a threat to the little boy. Next time he goes, he sees the monkey bars, he thinks all those thoughts about himself. I'm an idiot. How can I do anything else if I can't even cross those monkey bars? Why would I want to do that again? Second little boy falls off, hurts his arm, goes to his dad. Dad says, son, it's okay. We all fall down from time to time. Get back up, keep trying. Eventually you'll be able to make it across those monkey bars. Don't let that fool you. Don't let that scare you away. You keep going. Next time little boy goes to those monkey bars, they're no longer a threat. The cortisone, or the oxytocin and dopamine are released in his brain when he's encountered by those monkey bars. I can do it. I am motivated. Let me keep trying. Opposed to the other boy with the cortisone and adrenaline. Nah, that's scary. I'm afraid. A bear's gonna eat me. Let me run away. Self-compassion is self-kindness and loving yourself. Being compassionate towards yourself. It's being able to differentiate between I made a bad decision and I am a bad person. And that is huge. Oftentimes when we make a mistake or when we make a bad decision, I'm a horrible person. I'm screwed up. What is wrong with me? Right? When that's not the case. We need to determine who we really are and what limiting beliefs were placed upon us when we were younger. What social constructions were placed upon us to tell us that we are not worthy enough. That's where self-awareness comes in. That's where self-compassion comes in. Anybody brave enough to share some of the inner thoughts that go on within themselves when they're faced with a challenge, when they're faced with a mistake or a bad decision?
I know I'm always hard on myself. I'm nicer to someone else that did the same error or mistake, but with me, it's not okay.
Yeah. What are some of the things you say to yourself, if you don't mind me asking?
Why did you do that? You should have done it better. If you did it right, it wouldn't have, not this way. You would have said it differently.
And if it was a loved one, let's say it was was your child making a mistake, what would you say?
It's okay, honey, mistakes happen, accidents happen.
Mm-hmm.
You learn from it,
Mm-hmm.
and you grow from it.
Yeah. We tend to be kinder to other people, not to ourselves. And as part of the second component of self-compassion is recognizing we are part of this human experience. We too are imperfect. As human beings, we are flawed, but it's seeing ourselves in the same way. So where does self-talk stem from? Where does negative self-talk stem from? And positive. The inner voice we have within ourselves on a daily basis. Where does it come from? Anybody know? From childhood. It usually stems before your first 10 years of life, or during your first 10 years of life. It's your parents or the grown-ups within your life that have talked to you in a demeaning way or in a positive way. Your parents, guardians, teachers, even bullies in school. Those voices will stick to you for the rest of your life. I remember when I worked with veterans, I worked with a 75-year-old veteran, and he still had the voices in his head of things his dad would tell him when he was 5 years old. Imagine walking around being 75 and still thinking you're not good enough because your dad told you that when you were a little kid, before you had a choice to make up your own thought process, before your brain was fully developed. You had people telling you you were not enough, and you go your entire life living the same way. It is, and that's how vulnerable we are as children. And in reality, we're all grown-ups. We're all kids living in grown-up bodies. Nobody gave us the okay to just be. We're supposed to be married at a certain age. We're supposed to have a certain career. We're supposed to make so much money, look a certain way, never age, never grow gray hair, and be happy out of all of this. We're never taught to just be and to be loving and to be okay with where we are, the mindfulness, the third component of self-compassion. So how to use self-compassion in your everyday life? It all begins with thoughts. Remember earlier I said one of the secrets within is we have the ability to rewire our subconscious mind. Right? It all begins with thoughts. Then it becomes words, and then it becomes action. By being able to change your thoughts, you're able to change your words, and then change your external life. Your external life is merely a projection of your internal life, if that makes sense. There's not really a difference between the two. If there's chaos going on inside, you're going to cause chaos outside, subconsciously. And there are cycles that will keep repeating over and over in your life until you are aware that they are there. You are aware that, oh, this is a cycle. Where does it stem from? What can I do to heal that cycle so I can no longer continue with it? We've all been there, whether it's attracting the same person we date, same person, different name, different face, right? Or same job, same situation. It'll continue happening until you rewire your subconscious mind and start loving yourself enough to know that you deserve better. You deserve different, but you have to allow yourself to deserve different. Yes, she knows. She knows what I mean. The 3 C's. So this is basically cognitive behavioral therapy summed up in something very easy where everybody can understand. What are the 3 C's? How can we utilize the 3 C's to incorporate self-compassion into our lives? First one, you catch it. It starts with your thoughts. When you make a mistake, when something starts happening, you start having these thoughts. You catch it dead in its track. What am I thinking? That's where the mindfulness comes in. What am I thinking? Why am I thinking this? Where do these thoughts come from? You catch it. Second one, you check it. Oh, wait. First you catch it, then you check it. Is it real? Are these thoughts my thoughts, or are these thoughts the thoughts of the grown-ups I grew up with? Lastly, you change it. No. These thoughts are the thoughts of my dad when he told me I was an idiot when I was 7 years old. They're not my thoughts. What are my thoughts? Compassion. Our core self is love. We're not born to hate. We're not 3 months old and looking at the world thinking how ugly it is. That tree could look so much more green. That sky is not blue enough. You're just looking at it as is with the wonder and magic that the world has to offer. That's our true selves. And many of us believe, well, I am my thoughts. I am my thoughts. How they're going on all day long. How can I control my thoughts? How can I do anything? Well, who's the one listening to the thoughts? You hear the voices in your head all the time. Who's the one listening? That's you. That's your true self. That's the core you, the one of love and compassion. If you allow that one to shine through, you will be on your path, on your personal path. You just have to be able to allow it. So you catch your thoughts in their track, you check them, look for evidence surrounding them, you change them. No, that is not me. This is me. You replace your thoughts of defeat with thoughts of compassion. Anybody have questions so far?
That's really interesting. And it's easy to remember the 3 C's.
Yeah, all the time with my clients, it's remember the 3 C's. Catch it, check it, change it. And it's hard. It's really hard at first. When you're first incorporating that into your life, you're like, well, I'm not used to it. It's a muscle you have to build. Like I tell my clients all the time, you could come to a workshop, you could look at YouTube videos, and you could try to figure out how to strengthen your biceps and how to get big biceps. But eventually you're gonna have to go to the gym and start working out. And it's not gonna be after one workout. You're not gonna, lift a few weights and then tomorrow you're gonna wake up and be like, man, those YouTube videos really worked. No, it's gonna take some time. And it's the same thing with the 3 C's. It's the same thing with rewiring your subconscious mind. It's a muscle you have to build, and you have to keep doing it. Self-awareness is a lifelong journey, and you have to be willing to put in the work. It's not something you acquire overnight. But the more you follow your intuition, the more you follow the you within, not the thoughts, the ego, but the you within, the more magic and the more doors will open up for you. And all the greatest minds out there say the same thing. All the secrets are within books, but we're too busy taking selfies, right? It's Carl Jung, Ellen Watts, Joseph Campbell, Karen Horney, some of the founding fathers of psychology and the greatest minds of philosophy. Stoic philosophers like Seneca, Epictetus, they say the same thing. We just need to remember, and we need to remind ourselves what we already know that's within. And how we can do that is through the 3 C's, or one of the components. So there's a little activity I have for you guys. I have some papers over here. It's for some self-reflection. I love to do activities with my clients, and nobody's gonna see these but you. It just What names do you call yourself? Are your thoughts different from when you make small mistakes compared to when you make big mistakes? If you go in and you went to the wrong Starbucks instead of the right Starbucks, compared to if you accidentally max out your credit cards, big mistake versus small mistakes. Are they different? Are the thoughts in your head different? The second one, let's pretend a friend or a loved one comes to you with a small mistake they have made. What do you say to them? How about if they came to you with a big mistake? What do you say to them? The third one, make 3 commitments to yourself. You have to commit to yourself that you're gonna practice self-compassion, hopefully for the rest of your life. So what's something you can commit? Some examples. I commit to using the 3 C's whenever negative self-talk begins. I commit to make a conscious choice to practice self-compassion every day. I commit to allowing myself to feel my feelings instead of suppressing them. So go ahead and get started. I'll give you guys a few minutes. Remember, these are for your
rejection that prevents me from acting. So I'm afraid of making those big mistakes in the first place.
Mhm.
So that's why a lot of times I don't do anything.
Yeah, definitely. So you said You laugh at yourself when you make small mistakes. It's no big deal, and later on you laugh at other people when they make mistakes. When you laugh at yourself, is it in a demeaning way, or is it more of a just humorous way?
Funny, like, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah.
Like putting stuff in the, like, cabinet when it's supposed to go in the refrigerator, or, stupid stuff. Like, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah.
So I just laugh.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's a form of, talking to yourself negatively, and that's fine. Not everybody talks to themselves really in a negative light all the time. And maybe not necessarily self-compassion, because you said when I make dumb mistakes, when I can't believe I did that, or when I make stupid mistakes, incorporating those words within how you describe yourself. Even though they're just words, they have power within them, and I make stupid mistakes. And it could be something as little as, God, I'm so forgetful, or I'm bad at money. It's not really being mean to yourself. To you, it might be stating fact, but you are casting us. I like to say every word we say, or every thought we think, is like casting a spell on our lives. And it's to a similar effect. And you said other people think you're making fun of them. Do you feel you're making fun of them, or?
No.
Okay. That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. In big mistakes, you're critical on yourself, but you're not critical so much on others.
Yeah.
And that's what prevents you, the fear of rejection prevents you from going any further. So oftentimes what prevents any of us from going further are fear of rejection, fear of failure, and fear of criticism. If you want to continue on your path to following your bliss, you're going to have to learn to step into that fear. You're going to have to learn to see fear as opportunity instead of rejection, instead of failure or criticism. And see how it's holding you back. It's a risk either way. It's a risk if you do nothing, and it's a risk if you do something. What risk are you willing to face? And it's talking to yourself with the same encouragement. So let's say you talk to yourself in a demeaning way when you make a big mistake. If it was one of your sisters, or if it was a daughter or a dad, what would you tell them? Let's say they're trying to do something, but they're afraid of rejection, so they're probably not going to do it. What do you tell them?
Motivate them that, and I guess try to let them see that even if they fail, it's okay, and it's part of the process.
Yeah. Do you tell them, don't do it, just stay
No.
safe, don't
Yeah.
just
Don't do it.
Yeah.
It's worth it. If you're scared, then it means
Do you have something else to say?
Well, it sounds so logical, but it's freaking hard.
To actually do it.
It is harder.
Taking that leap of faith into the abyss is scary. You don't know what's on the other side. You don't know what's in the abyss. You don't know what's in the darkness. And it's scary, but it's scarier to stay exactly where you are, living in regret. Going back to being 80, 90 years old on your deathbed, you're not going to sit there and be like, God, I'm so glad I played it safe. I am so glad I just did not, tell that person how I felt. I am so glad I just did not go on that trip. God, here I am, like, not able to do anything anymore. And I'm so glad. No, you're going to think back, I wish I would have just said that one thing to that one person. I wish I would have taken that trip. I really wish I just would have went out there and did everything I said I wanted to do when I was a kid, and here I am, almost in the same place I was when I was 15, 16 years old. Taking a leap of faith into the abyss is something I could have a whole nother workshop on. And then again, all the great minds say that. You have to take that leap of faith. It's scary, but you have to feel the fear and do it anyway. And it's also scary to be able to change yourself, because you're all you know. And part of self-awareness is part of following your bliss is unbecoming everything you spent a lifetime becoming, right? It's tearing off all the labels people have placed on you. You are not enough. You cannot do it. Why even try? And it's going from the outside in, what the outside has told you and you have internalized, and coming from the inside out, what you know to be true within your heart of hearts, and going outwards and following that, and being led by that. And being led by that is scary because no one else has been led by that because it is your personal path. And Joseph Campbell said, if the path is paved clearly in front of you, it is not your path. You have to go into the forest and pave your own path, no matter how scary that may be. So let me ask you this. The fear of rejection. Growing up, how were the adults in your life? What were the words they told you when you wanted to go out there and make a big decision? What were the words? If that makes sense.
My dad was really, he would always push me. And he would motivate me and push me. But then if I failed, he would lecture me, always lecture me. So I felt bad, like I always wanted to, do it right the first time. My mom was always supportive. She never talked bad to me or anything like that.
And growing up, what parent did you seek the most approval from? What parent did you seek the most attention from? Not necessarily needed, but the one you craved.
My dad,
So he's the most dominant influence in your life,
even today.
even today. So you said when you made a mistake, he was pretty critical of you and you wanted to get it done the first time. Fear of rejection to do it a second time, to go back on those monkey bars and try again, right? Kind of the same thing. That fear of rejection, criticism, and failure, because adults in your childhood were afraid themselves. So they're probably afraid. They probably don't take leaps of faith into the abyss. They're probably fear, rejection, criticism, and failure as well. And they play it safe. So they want to make sure their kid is safe. I mean, they're not doing it in a vindictive way. They want to make sure their children or the kids in their lives are safe. But at the same time, is it hindering their growth or is it supporting their growth? And their parents were probably the same way, played it safe. The great thing is we have the ability to break cycles, not only within our own personal family, within our own personal lives, but globally. And it all stems from you personally. So those fears of rejection, recognize, are they yours? Are they yours? Or are they someone else's? Because it seems like part of you influences others to take that leap of faith, and it's worth it, it's worth the risk. So part of you believes it. Implementing it within yourself, toward yourself, including yourself in the human experience, and recognizing you are flawed too. And it's just ego. Ego is fear and desire. It is both. And ego is a part of you that is your thoughts, everything you perceive yourself to be, everything you perceive society, everything you think society sees you as. That is ego. The you behind all of that, that is you. So when you're faced with desire or fear, it's probably ego. And being able to differentiate between the you of you, the hearts of hearts, and ego. So, if I were to say, hey, I want to do this workshop, but I'm afraid, I'm super scared, what would you tell me? Do it anyway.
You got this.
You got this. Yeah. Telling yourself that. I'm not an idiot. I may not fail. What if I fail? Well, what if you fly? Yeah. Easier said than done. It's catching yourself in your tracks. The first part of the 3 C's, catch it. I'm scared. I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to stay here, watch Netflix, It's so much easier, but will it benefit you in the long run? Probably not. Yeah. Does anybody want to share? Anybody else want to share a little bit about their personal, or have a personal story they would like to get out and be solved or helped?
I think I look for compassion in people for me. There's like a love it. Being compassionate is I don't yearn for it from others. I don't want to anyway.
Yeah. And it's part of seeking validation external from yourself. Yes, and you're aware of that, and that's huge. The fact that you are aware of what you need, your love languages, it's huge. Because so many people just go around feeling bad and they don't know. Your first step is acknowledgement. The fact that you've come to this workshop is a huge step. The fact that you have that that urge for change, it's huge. Now it's action. You have, you know, it seems like you know what you're supposed to be doing, it's just action. And recognizing your boss probably doesn't praise herself either. And recognizing that every adult is an evolving soul, and they probably don't love themselves. The majority of us are walking around not loving ourselves or not knowing ourselves. We spend so much time getting to know other people and seeking approval external from ourselves, but we do not spend time looking within. So what are some of your strengths? What is something you do bring to your team at work that you know you're good at?
I think I do that well. Okay.
Yeah. And that's huge. I mean, they talk about, you know, first child, middle child, last child syndrome. You're like, there's a lot. And we crave, just as any human beings, attention as a child. We need individualized attention. Physical touch as well. We need the validation, you know, positive reinforcements verbally. And it seems like you didn't get enough of that as a kid. And probably your other siblings as well. And how were your parents in terms of providing that individualized attention? Or your guardians, whoever raised you?
My parents, they didn't ask me. She says it's but give it to her, so.
I mean, it could be several reasons, but it's, you did say, you know, you asked your mom, why did you have so many children? A lot of times it could have been I don't know your mom personally, but a codependency. If I have more people who depend on me, it's like trying to fill a void of self-love through others. Kids are supposed to love you. Kids are supposed to, if I have more kids, I will never be alone. That's one of the things I see a lot within people who have children, a lot of children really young, or they feel having a child when they're not healthy-minded. Usually teenagers, or I worked a lot with foster youth, and when they having a child to them, they think it's going to bring on happiness. Once I'm a mom, finally I can have somebody who actually loves me. And I don't know your mom personally, but that might be a reason. Just recognizing that there's always a why behind the why, you know, and seeing her with the same sort of compassion. And if she doesn't want to talk about it, there's probably pain behind it. When there's no pain behind it, we talk about things freely, right? When there's pain, oh, let's avoid, let's not get into that. And she might not consciously know herself. She just goes around doing that. Cycles go on through generations. So if she's filling a void, it unconsciously passes on to children. And having so many siblings, you did not get that attention. And when you did get it, how did you receive that attention?
Like gifts and stuff.
It would be gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's recognizing the sad truth. Nobody's ever going to treat you the way you want them to. Nobody's ever going to. Whether it's a partner, whether it's your parents, whether it's this, we have these expectations. But it's never going to happen. It's grieving the loss of an expectation, grieving the loss of a life you thought you could always have, grieving the loss of the boss you always hoped to get. And you said it happened in the last job and maybe a job before, so it seems to be a cycle within yourself of having these bosses who do not see your worth. But your external world is a projection of your internal world. Do you see your worth? Do you feel that you are worthy of their appraisal? And does part of you feel, I'm just one of 14 kids. I'm just one of the crowd. Do I really deserve that attention? And that's up to you to decide. And if the answer is no, I do not feel like I really deserve it. I am just another coworker. Anyhow, like, I'm just another person, another number. You're gonna manifest that into your reality. And it's recognizing when those thoughts come in, those self-limited thoughts, limiting thoughts, and changing it. No, I do deserve appraisal, but I have to give it to myself because I am worthy. I've worked so hard, I've done this, and I do deserve it. But it has to stem from the inside out. Because you can be the best employee in the world, but unless you truly believe you're the best person for yourself, you're gonna keep attracting people into your life that are gonna see you as unworthy. Until you fill that void within yourself of I am worthy, you will start attracting people who see your worth as well. It's all internal. It all stems from you. So if you don't mind me asking, what are specific things you tell yourself when you don't get that praise from your boss? You do that too? So there's one of my favorite philosophers, Alan Watts. He's a British philosopher. And he says, so it's a Monday morning, right? You're in bed and like, you're thinking about all the crap you have to do this week. Oh my gosh, like I have to pick up the dry cleaners. My boss is gonna be an asshole to me. I already know it. And the kids have to go to school and this and that. And so you're stressing yourself out, but in reality, you're still in bed. You're still in bed, safe and warm and not having to deal with anything. How powerful are your thoughts, right? And that goes back to mindfulness. Where am I right now? Start from, you catch it. I am having these feelings of I am not good enough. And then you make it bigger, right? So it's the snowball effect of when reality is just this. It doesn't have to go from A to B or A to Z. And usually the stuff we make big, the stuff we worry about never even happen. So we're spending all this energy fearing and overanalyzing, overthinking and self-doubting, and it never even happens, right? So you can choose to channel that energy because it's all energy. You could choose to channel that energy in fear, or you could choose to channel it with love. What if it does work out? What if it does? Oh my gosh, like, and start having that fantasy in your brain. And that takes muscle too. And I had a lot of negative, limited beliefs as well, and it is a muscle you build up. But what if it does? No, screw that. I mean, what if I do become this? What if I do get the recognition? What if I do get the job I want and the man I want and whatever the woman I want, become the woman I want? It's all energy. And it's up to you to decide when and where you can channel it. But we're so programmed to be critical of ourselves, right? It's so common to be like, hey, happy Monday. Oh man, Monday, man? You know, same old, how you doing? You know, same old. But why can't we be like, heck yeah, it's Monday. Like I had enough sleep. Like we're so trained to see the negatives in life. And that's when you recognize what society imposes on you and what you can impose on yourself. Negative, I'm not good enough. I should have done better. Whose thoughts are those? Are those your thoughts? Are those thoughts that were placed upon you? And carry them on this far in your life, you don't have to carry it anymore. Your shoulders are tired. That's why you're here, because you're tired of it. But you have to be able to allow and know that you are worthy of it. You have to allow that love into your life, your self-love into your life. And is it worth it? Do you want to keep seeing the cycles over and over, or do you want to make a change? Just like we're telling Diana, it's a risk either way. You can stay the same, continually manifesting the same cycles, or you can take that leap of faith into the abyss, which is probably usually, most of the time, the leaps into the abyss are way more beautiful than not. And even if it's not, wait a little while and you would recognize the beauty in the not. Because obstacles are merely perception. There are no such thing as obstacles, only your perception of them. Because eventually, how many times has something happened bad in your life and you look back and you're like, oh, that's why that happened. That happened to get me to here, and right here, it's beautiful. And the ego does not live in the present moment. When you're in the present moment, and how I have my clients be in the present moment, focus on your breath. Something we do every day, something that is necessary for life, but yet we take it for granted. The air that fills up our lungs, where it comes out. What does it do to your brain when you actually stop? Take the deep breaths. So I do Pilates, and last night I was in Pilates, and we have to take deep breaths, fill in our lungs, and squeeze our breath all the way out. And the instructor said, so many times her clients gets lightheaded when doing Pilates because it's the first time in their entire day where they're actually taking deep breaths. Because most of the time we're so anxious, we take slow or we take fast, shallow breaths, and we don't get the oxygen flow to our brains that allow us to think properly. Being mindful of the here and now. The here and now, you're safe, you're healthy, you're happy. Focus on that breath. Thoughts aren't going through my head. What am I thinking? Okay. How can I change that? You're okay. You're good enough. You're worthy. She's not seeing my worth because she doesn't see her own worth. And I don't see my own worth, but I'm changing that. I am working hard to change that, and that's okay. It is okay for me to be working on myself. And self-compassion is not egotistic. It is not selfish. It is not. It is necessary for you to survive. The more you love yourself, people will recognize that and they'll be like, hey, what are you doing? You're like glowing. Why are you glowing so much? They might be critical at first because they're not used to that confidence within people. And first they question you, they might make fun of you. Eventually they want to know how you did it. Just know you're worth it. You have to tell yourself that. If you have to write it down every day. And something I tell my clients too is when those negative thoughts come to you, I am stupid, I am scared, no, I'm not gonna do it, I'm gonna play it safe, separating that from you. So I have my clients name that part. Name the ego. My ego's name is Samantha. When Samantha comes to play and she starts saying, nope, no, you're not good enough, no, you're lazy, no, whatever other thoughts, that's Samantha, that is not me. Samantha, go, silence. You come out when I want you to come out. I love you, Samantha, thank you for your input, but go work on you, girl. I'm gonna work on me. So that's something we can do right now too, is name your ego, you know? It's something you can write down right now, actually do that, yeah. Let's do that, so you can go on with life. Name your ego. What is that thought, those thoughts that come into you? What is his name? Name it. All right, call him Lucifer, call it the devil, whatever works for you. Damien, okay, the Omen. Freddy Krueger. So what are your commitments? I commit to give Lucifer love and compassion when I hear him coming and send him on his way. Because when you're mean to Lucifer, you're mean to you. When you're mean to the ego, you're mean to you. So you're gonna have to show that part compassion too, but send it on its way. Your shadow part, the parts of you you do not like. And later on, if you continue coming to these, I will explain how can you channel that other part of you, your ego, into being a tool for you to move forward. First part is identifying, next will be utilizing. Did you name yours?
Well, because I'm going through a lot of conditions, I named it my married name. And so.
That's great.
And now the new me is my original.
Maiden name. I love it. That's a great way to put it. So eventually, hopefully your married name will eventually fade, if that's the direction you're trying to go.
It's in the process of being changed.
Perfect. Physically and hopefully internally.
Yeah.
There's a lot of association with a name and with what you identified with prior. I love it. It's great. Yeah. And there are no rules to this game. It's yours. I'm merely here to provide you with tools for you to use however way you want. But it's ultimately up to you. And I think it's beautiful that you're here, that every one of you is here. There's a Buddhist belief where every stranger we cross paths with is a blessing, but most of us don't recognize that. Think of all the probabilities and possibilities in this universe that got all of us here in the same room right now. All the people our parents could have mated with and reproduced with, all the people their parents could have, all our life situations, the fact that we happen to be friends on LinkedIn, the fact that you met me on a meetup group, the fact that you follow me on Instagram. Like, there are no coincidences in this world. And I believe people were brought here to learn something new. And I learn from you as much as you learn from me, believe it or not. I take away from everybody I encounter, anybody I help. And it's a blessing. It really is. Every soul we encounter is really a blessing. Again, you deserve to be treated with the same love and compassion you give to others. You need to put your oxygen mask on first. You have to, or else no one else around you is gonna be safe, mentally, spiritually, on a holistic level. Self-love is mind, body, and spirit. But these are some tools. Remember the catch it, check it, change it. Remember you are worthy. Write it down. when I first began on my journey, I had to write stuff down, whether it was the weight, my goal weight, the specific health, where I was living. I wrote stuff down, and it's amazing when you look back and see that you've actually accomplished. Write it down, make it a goal, and if you put it somewhere where you can see every single day, you unconsciously embed it into your subconscious mind. And when it's embedded into your subconscious mind, you're going to attract certain situations that's going to bring it about. You're going to be attracted to people who are going to bring out certain opportunities for you, or situations that are going to bring out opportunities for you. We have the power to rewire our subconscious mind. You just have to be willing to put in the work. Any more questions, comments, concerns?
Do you still have meetups?
I do. So I am part of Meetup. You can also follow me on Instagram. I do utilize LinkedIn, but for some reason Instagram, I'm on a lot more if you have an Instagram.
Will you be Sonya Gomez coaching on it? Or?
It's Sonya Gomez _. And that's my, if you go to my website as well, it has the link to all of my social media accounts. And I do offer free 30-minute consultations. If you want to work one-on-one, 30-minute phone consultations. I do have a few slots open for next week, which is on this sheet right here, if you would like to sign up. And a lot of what I do is individual coaching. So I work with clients one-on-one on usually phone sessions, Skype sessions, or in person. And we have hour sessions every week. And it's beautiful. It's so beautiful to see the transitions within people. But they have to be willing to invest, and they have to be willing to work. No, serious inquiries only. That's my purpose, is to pass on the gift that I have found within myself. And I hope you guys find it within yourselves as well. Thank you.